non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com. Purple Daily, presented by Surly Brewing Company.
The cat and mouse game there as far as drawing things out pre-snap so you can identify sort of what they're going to do, or at least what they intend to try to do.
We're going to try. But we're also going to understand that, really good defenses are going to keep disguising no matter how hard you try. And so you study and you see what ways maybe you can get them to make a tell without them realizing it. But it's getting more and more difficult as the years go on, as I've played football, realizing that what you used to do back in 2012 or 13 to get a look, defenses are getting good. They're not doing that anymore.
He smiled at Judd.
Yeah, we're tight now.
You guys are, look at this.
We're tight. We're buddies. We're boys.
Was it 10 months ago? I'm trying to do the math here, where you guys had your standoff at training camp.
He wasn't gonna talk about not being vaxxed, and I was curious about it. But
you basically called him a bad teammate and human to his face, and he glared back at you.
I think it was more of a bad teammate than a bad human. I don't think I was passing judgment on him as a human.
You're a bad guy.
I think I was passing judgment on him as a teammate. That's probably sure. But yeah, now we're talking schematics and things like. So now we're much more into what I like to call football.
Yeah, well, he knows that you're just a couple of football guys at heart who just want the same thing. Just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before you die. I don't know that that's number one on his list. I think getting the guaranteed contract is number one. But then after that, winning a Super Bowl at some point.
And he probably grew up a Lions fan, right?
Yes, that's
sadly
explains a lot. Probably grew up.
Has
a Lions
he talked
fan.
about that ever?
That's a real.
Has he admitted that?
Why don't you ask about it?
I'm sure he has at some point in time. I don't recall reading or hearing that. Do you?
Well, so what is he? He's 34.
But I'm sure he talked about it at like Michigan State or with Washington or something along the way.
Oh. So I'm just trying to figure out which specific era of Lions football. So he was born in 87 or 88 or something. So he probably grew up watching the end of Barry Sanders' career in the late 90s.
Seeing the Vikings get punked by Barry. God, what a running back he was.
So he kind of came to football age watching the Matt Millen run Detroit Lions, the absolute worst version of the Lions in the early 2000s.
That could explain a lot. Always get the money because you're not going to get the ring. That might be his credo as a child.
This is Purple Daily. Our credo is we just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. Daily Vikings entertainment. If you're watching us on the Purple Daily YouTube channel, thanks for clicking the subscribe button and the like button. Help spread the word about this awesome community of Vikings fans. You guys are smart, good-looking. You're funny. We read the comments. Some of you hate us and just hate watch us every day, and that's okay, too. We're all here for the same thing. Judd was out. As you can tell, he was asking Kirk some questions. They were bonding. Kirk was smiling at him. They're talking football. It's a good time at Vikings mandatory minicamp. And so let's get to it here, Judd. Presented by TCL, one of the world's best-selling consumer electronics brands. You can find out more about all the different products TCL brings. TVs, also smartphones at TCL.com. We've been calling these OTA observations, and I think we called it a minicamp observation, but I like alliteration. So let's get to Judd's minicamp musings. Mandatory minicamp musings.
I'll change the banner.
Minicamp musings.
How many do we have? 5?
So 5 from 5 practices. So 3 of the organized team activities open for viewing. 2 days of mandatory minicamp, both open. And so you're going to have 5 basically musings, and we can call them certainly for you to your point, alliteration, minicamp musings.
Okay.
You want me to start?
Well, I can't start. I don't have the musings. So
do you want me to? No, I said, do you want me to start? I've got 5.
I don't know what else we would do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, I didn't know if you had more to say. I didn't know if you had more to say.
We have random Viking of the week, and we're.
I have a lot to say.
I didn't know if you had more to say. I didn't know if you had more to say. I did not want. Oh, by the way. O'Connell in his press conference, unless we find out different, O'Connell in his press conference yesterday did volunteer up that we're going to have some type of barbecue today for team bonding. It does not sound like any sports.
It's not a sporting
event. So you can buzz yourself.
If
this Top Golf thing was a sporting event.
Well, but if they happen to play sports at the cookout, which there's plenty of things, if they play bags, if they play frisbee or something, I want to know if there's little like lawn games, then I probably would fight for this point.
Bags is not a sport.
Yeah,
It's on
we'll
ESPN.
deliberate.
It is on
committee-
ESPN.
No,
The
not-
committee will
Entertainment
deliberate.
and Sports Programming Network runs the Bags Championship.
The committee will deliberate.
All right.
Bags does not count. I'm
Get
not
to your
even gonna,
get to
I'm
your
not even gonna
musings.
do that. All right, time for musings.
Are we counting from 1 or 5?
There's just 5 here.
No, are we
this is
are we
not-
starting at 1 or 5?
No, I know, but I'll start at 1, but it's not like the best one. They're just all points of great
This is
interest.
off to a roaring start.
Yes, it is. All right. Observation number 1, minicamp musings. The clip that Declan just played from Kirk was born out of a conversation that really went from O'Connell to Kirk to Patrick Peterson yesterday involving the defense. And that is this: the discussion of how much confusion the Vic Fangio rooted and now brought here by Ed Donatel, who worked with Vic in Denver, how much confusion that defense can cause. And how much confusion that Kirk was talking about, it already caused the offense, which led to the response that you just heard, which was my question about, I thought the whole thing was Jefferson and company were supposed to draw out pre-snap reads to tell you exactly what the answers to the test were before the ball was snapped. But if you're telling me it's causing that much confusion, clearly you're saying, no, we can't always get the answers that we want because this defense is so intricate. So, 2 interesting things here. One is I'm very curious to see defensively what this looks like, what this does. As we discussed, I think when we were talking about the first day of the camp yesterday, the potential of having Zadarius Smith and Hunter on the field healthy together could cause some problems. The second thing, as just sort of a B to this entire conversation that I found intriguing, was an admission already that drawing things out pre-snap reads is great to do if you can, but clearly they were saying it's not always possible, which sort of backs me up now to say, well, is there going to be a point in time where that is possible offensively for Kirk and company, or have defenses just gotten so confusing that you're sort of hoping? So I think there's 2 things here. One is I am excited to see what this defense can actually bring. And 2 is I guess I'm not as certain that the offense can draw out the answers from the defense as I was after O'Connell initially talked when he got the job, because obviously that's what the Rams trying to do.
Well, let's hear from Patrick Peterson, who spoke in complicated football terminology about the coverage and disguises and things like that, I believe.
Know if we're in a single high shell, cover 2, we could be in the 1 hole. So at the end of the day, our safety is going to give, our corners, a little bit more help to steal that second from the quarterback. That's what I'm talking about, stealing that second from the quarterback versus giving him a single high. He knows exactly where he's going with the ball right now. So putting that time in now. But to answer your question, living on the island is always hard. So it don't matter which scheme that you're in.
So my question was this.
Yeah. God.
That is, can you believe that? It's June.
Dude, that was a glorious set of football terminologies.
It was great. It was great. Like we are eating a Thanksgiving feast of football in June right there.
He gave you the point there too. He gave you the kind of the hey
smile.
guy. We're on the same wavelength, football guy.
Again, eye contact, dedication to the terminology. Like we don't
Notebook, thick notebook.
Purple Daily is not this fly-by-night Vikings show, this cute little thing where we fire it up and hope to talk some football. We go in search of answers, and damn it, we get them. Sports
That's
dad,
right.
Sports detective too.
Out there in a trench coat.
I'm with a hat on and a cigar. Tell me again something.
Where were you on the night of week 3, 2019?
Exactly right. So that question actually was this. That question was a discussion that I think we had about a month ago, and I was searching for the answer, and I got it there, which was I had read at some point in time after Mike was fired that Mike asked a lot of his cornerbacks, And I also read at that time that the Donatell scheme was simpler, okay? But then I saw, oh, no, the Donatell scheme stresses, and my exact words to Patrick Peterson were, what does this defense do to stress your position? Because the stressors are a big deal, right? And that's where he said very nicely, and I wanted this response so it didn't offend me. He basically said, hey, dummy, they're both difficult. Like we're on islands. Like if you're on an island, it's difficult, which he's 1,000% right. But I found it to be very intriguing because what he essentially is saying is the ask might be different, but the ask is still very, very big, which goes back to the fact that if Hunter and Zadarius Smith can be essentially 100% in play, that's going to make the cornerbacks' jobs simpler. If they're not, and now the pass rush is not the same, it can be Mike's scheme, it can be Donatello's scheme. It's going to be difficult to stop the passing game if you don't apply the correct pressure up front.
I love these, stealing an extra second from the quarterback is a... And Kirk on the flip side too. I don't want to step on your musings here, but you kind of alluded to the offensive side of this. And one of Kirk's comments yesterday was about just how hard it is. It's really hard to get a feel for what the defense is actually going to do until the ball is snapped. And so he was it was a question about play action.
Yes.
And he said, well, you might as well have your back to the defense because you don't know anyways. They're not showing you what they're going to do until like a second after you've snapped the ball. And all these defenses are getting speedier secondary players and speedier linebackers so that they can wait to sprint to the place that they're actually going to go in coverage.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's all a chess match of disguising and deciphering on both sides of the ball. And the Vikings were clearly losing that chess match on the defensive side of the ball a lot more often the last 2 years under Mike Zimmer. So,
but what confused me slightly about the response that you just talked about from my good friend Kirk Cousins was this. What confused me about what he responded with was I thought that the ability, or I think that the ability, and what O'Connell's been talking about, to move Jefferson around in motion, things like that, is supposed to tell Kirk what he's going to see pre-snap. So like it slightly confused me when he said, we might as well run play action because I'm not going to know what we're going to see until I turn around. So like, I'm very curious. It's to use your term, it's all a chess match, but the key is to get the read on what's going to transpire once the match starts is right before it starts. And so I guess that's where I'm a little bit swimming right now as far as who ultimately is going to have the advantage on a play-by-play basis if there's going to be one.
Well, I'll throw one more thing in here too, in that I worry a little bit that Kirk doesn't really want to be the driver of all of this. I think Kirk in his career has really liked to be, listen, I'm really good at throwing the football. I'm really good at, especially if the pocket's clean, dissecting a defense. He's never been the Peyton Manning, Tom Brady general out there. And it sounds like they may need a little bit more of that from him. Like the system's going to be great for him, and there's going to be weapons and all sorts of deception, but that he's going to have to make some choices, and he's going to be assigned and tasked with things that maybe he wasn't. And I guess we'll find out more as we see this play out. All right, musing number 2.
Minicamp musing number 2 is this: don't believe the 34. The 3-4 is going to be the base scheme that the Vikings are going to talk about, and I believe their depth chart will reflect that. Okay. Beyond that, I could tell you almost positively now, and this is true league-wide, this is not a secret, but it's going to be the truth, is this. They are almost always going to be in nickel, if not dime at times. But so when they were in a true 3-4, which, look, base, they'll be in it sometimes. It'll be Harrison Phillips, Dalvin Tomlinson, and I think right now, Armin Watts. But the reality is this. Watts is going to come out a ton. He's not going to play a ton. It'll be Phillips, Tomlinson, Hunter, Zadarius Smith, Kendricks, Jordan Hicks, Patrick Peterson, Dantzler, Harrison Smith, Bynum or Scene. I think it's going to be Bynum at first. Scene could win that job. And Chandon Sullivan, the nickel corner that they signed from the Packers. Okay. But this thing's going to be called a 3-4. But with the amount of receivers that teams deploy, they, I think, almost always are going to be in a defense that has at least an extra defensive back. And they also are going to move guys around so much that I don't think you're going to see like the classic 3 down linemen and 4.
That's my next question.
They're going to shift guys around.
In the nickel, whose hands are in the dirt?
Football.
So Tomlinson's hands in the dirt.
Yep.
Phillips' hands in the dirt.
Talk to me, Goose. That's exactly right.
Are those the only 2
Hunter,
hands in the dirt?
I think Hunter and Zadarius Smith are going to equal success through deception. In other words, I think one of them might have their hand in the dirt at times, but I don't think you're ever going to see the same thing, and they're going to provide multiple looks. This gets back to this to me is what intrigued me, because welcome to 2022 Minnesota Vikings. What we're going to see, and this is not to say that Zim didn't have a fastball at one time for sure. And I mean, Mike knows more about defense than most of us will ever know, okay? So I don't want this to be ripping on Mike. But Phil, you're exactly right. This is all about the what's this side of the ball doing? No, what's this side of the ball doing? No, let's get this read. No, let's not give them that. Pre-snap, let's not show a thing. So I think what we're going to see, and this is why it's so imperative that Hunter and Smith are healthy and can play. What we're going to see is 2 potentially outstanding players maximized to what they can do, which is going to cause nightmares. Now, if either one goes out, the nightmare decreases, because I might not know what you're going to do, but you don't scare me, right? Zadarius Smith healthy, and certainly Danielle Hunter healthy, scare me. So now I have to not only be very aware of what the keys are and where they're going, but I know that if I'm not, I could be completely screwed before the play starts.
Wow, the keys. The keys.
Yeah, I have to drop some keys.
The keys.
What? You know what? What are my reads? What are the keys? What do I have to do? The first time Danielle Hunter, and I guarantee you this ain't going to be in a preseason game, on September 11th, when he all of a sudden is over a guard, think about that matchup.
I love it. Mike Zimmer did some of that stuff too, though. Like this is where I'm trying to rip on Mike. Yeah,
That's not fair.
Mike Zimmer had one of the more innovative wrinkles, the double A gap blitz, right? And then there was what was the game where a couple seasons ago, like this is back 2000. This is like the heyday of his defense from 3, 4, 5 years ago. But there was a game where he lined up the defensive ends on the interior for chunks of the game
and put playoff game.
That's what it was.
Yeah, it was a Saints playoff game. It was a marvelous scheme.
Yeah,
and
so
the Saints were screwed.
There's ways if you want to get Danielle Hunter on a guard, like Mike Zimmer has done that before too. So some of these conversations don't always have to be, and you're not doing this.
Right.
Look what Mike Zimmer was terrible at. Look what this. There's. Mike Zimmer knew what he was doing for at least 6 years.
Hunter standing up though, and being able to roam, because you can roam. It's going to cause problems. And I guarantee you there are going to be times, and this is where I think if he is healthy enough, which I'm assuming he's going to be, this is where Hunter in particular could cause nightmares, okay? Zone blitzes. So he shows blitz, but he drops back. But the thing is, he's an athlete, so he can drop back. I guarantee you that there are tight ends that he can keep up with, okay? So if you zone blitz this thing, and now let's say, I don't know, take your pick. Jordan Hicks comes, okay? Or Harrison Smith. Like, let's say you stunt this thing and zone blitz it. Danielle Hunter is an athlete. Like, he's a hell of an athlete. So I'm just saying there's opportunities here that didn't, and to your point about Mike, which I agree completely with, there's just some of these things that Mike wasn't going to do that I think this defense will do.
I love this. This is the most fired up I've seen Judd.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch.
All off season so far.
I'm watching. I just spent 5 practices watching installation of this stuff, and like they're showing almost nothing. And then in my head though, from where they are set up, I'm like going through the permeations of what they could do. And I know Hunter can play. Like he's way more than just a guy that can rush. And we've seen guys who are marvelous who can rush, but they don't like to drop back. They don't like zone blitzes.
Yeah.
Hunter will.
One more thing on this, too, and we'll get to the other 3 musings, but people are overreacting to the Vikings bad defense last year. Because when Danielle Hunter was on the field, they were one of the top 10 defenses in almost every key category. They were number 1 in pressures, number 1 in sacks. Points per game were down. Yardage was different. And then you take a borderline Hall of Fame caliber player off the field for the rest of the season, and you don't have great depth, and things go haywire. And people are like, look at how garbage the Vikings defense is. Well, yeah, yes,
Right.
because you took Danielle Hunter off the field. And so what's going to happen now is if Danielle Hunter's healthy, it's going to look so much more glaring, like, wow, look at this scheme. Well, the scheme is definitely interesting, but having Danielle Hunter, regardless of scheme, is the most important thing here. And then having Zadarius Smith healthy, regardless of scheme, is the second most important thing here. If those guys are on the field, I don't care if you're running the 1980s, 4-6 defense, if you're running the Mike Zimmer double A gap blitz 4-3, if you're running a 3-4, like those two guys on the field are the biggest difference, and that's the biggest thing that I want to see for the Vikings this year. You might see a coffee mug if you're watching us on the YouTube channel there, the Judd's holding. Tell us about that and where the audience can find delicious coffee.
Yeah, I will. And welcome to the world of subscription coffee from my friends at Folly. And this stuff, I've been sipping on this stuff for about a month now, and it is outstanding. A local company with the simple mission of providing you the best coffee available, named the best Minnesota online coffee retailer by Corporate Vision magazine. Fully customizable coffee subscription to match how much coffee you drink and your favorite flavors. Go to follycoffee.com. That's FOLLY, as you can see right there. Use the code word SCORE, SKOR, at checkout. 10% off your initial order. And the best thing about subscription coffee is if you like coffee like I do, this means the subscription will continue to show up at your door as you run low on coffee. The flavors are outstanding. The consistency of having coffee and not having to say, I got to go shopping or order more. With Folly Coffee, it'll be right there. Follycoffee.com, code word SCORE, 10% off your initial order. Check it out. It's fantastic.
Pour a cup of Folly coffee, stretch out those back muscles, and maybe head down for a round of golf somewhere, Declan. Maybe that sounds like a good Saturday morning this week.
Oh, that sounds excellent. And I think I'll be at the Meadows at Mystic Lake, an award-winning 18-hole public golf course. It offers unique, challenging, but scenic golf experience. You can book lessons there. You can buy new apparel at the pro shop. You can even enjoy a nice surly beverage or a cup of joe right on the patio there and take in the scenic experience that is the Meadows at Mystic Lake. Book your tee time now at golfthemeadows.com, or to learn more, go to golfthemeadows.com.
All right. Musing number 3 here. Judd's mandatory minicamp musings.
My third one is very, very simple, and it won't surprise you guys, but it's this. In Cousins, you must trust. And I don't say that because I expect Kirk to be great. I actually do expect that, but that's a different topic than this one. The Vikings truly, as far as I can tell, gents, do not have a backup quarterback. Mannion is Kirk's friend, and I bet he's going to be a good coach. I bet he's going to be a quarterback's coach. He could be an OC. I think he probably helps a lot in the room. I think that's probably all true. He took the majority of the snaps, I felt like, with the second team on Tuesday, and we talked about that in the PD that we did after the first practice day on Tuesday. Kellen Mond got a lot of the work yesterday. He threw a couple of picks. He threw a pick that was a really bad pick. These drills are basically largely in place to help the offense. And
the Vikings Twitter account put out, it was like a celebratory, defense is, doing this.
No.
And poor Kellen Mond was at the beginning of the video throwing just a pass over the middle to somebody.
He was despondent. But the fact is unless, and I do not expect this, unless the Vikings are going to go search the market for a backup quarterback who they consider to be a large improvement if something were to happen to Kirk. And keep in mind, Kirk Cousins, knock on wood, does not get hurt. It's remarkable. Like, he deserves credit. He plays. But Mond, I don't know there's much there. Mannion, I know that there is definitely not. And so this whole thing about, Mond might develop, I don't know about that. So I don't trust the backup quarterback situation for the Vikings.
Yeah, and it'll, there's no one sitting on their couch right now that it's such a premium position that anyone who's anyone is on a 90-man roster right now. So you're going to have to wait to see, if there's a surprise cut or if there, you're almost certainly screwed if you're looking for just a viable backup quarterback that has played games before. So, is there a guy that is the fourth guy but has potential, was a 6th round draft pick and they try to sneak him through waivers and you claim him? Like, who's your Tyler Thigpen that you could snipe from somebody? Remember him from 15 years ago?
Oh, Childress went nuts when he got sniped by the Chiefs at the time. Oh, he was mad.
But it would be nice if, at this point, I don't think the expectation is that Kellen Mond is going to be this starting quarterback at some point, but is he a guy that can come in at some point starting this year and, hold his own in 3 games when Kirk Cousins has, a shoulder issue or something?
Yeah. I'd like to see him get a chance from a coaching perspective, like to be worked with and developed. I'm just saying right now, like if Kirk got hurt in October, I think you're just in huge trouble.
He's not going to get hurt in
October, baby.
Or September.
Take that. You take that.
How about September? Hey, look,
Kirk
Cousins, Iron Man.
I think Kirktember and Kirktober are off limits for anything negative.
Yeah.
Kirk Cousins. Kirkvember.
Kirksember.
Well, you don't want
Kirkuary.
Oh boy,
Kirkuary is a.
I
he hasn't spent a lot of
Kirkuary.
time in Kirkuary. Yeah, certainly not Kirkruary.
Oh wow,
Haven't seen him in Kirkruary before.
Wow.
Musing number 4.
Minicamp musing number 4 comes from 5 days of observational practices, but I think this is going to continue into training camp, and it's something that the Rams do as well. I would title this "Take It Easy." The days of, and this is not a bad thing, but O'Connell definitely, I think, goes the McVay route on he definitely puts a priority on health and not grinding players down. And we know for a fact that Zim loved to practice. And like I think part of the reason why some very smart behind the scenes people eventually departed the Vikings while Zim was here was because like Zim would practice hard in December. And they said, Mike, this doesn't make any sense. Like from a medical standpoint, from any standpoint, there is no reason why on a Wednesday or Thursday we are wearing guys down for Sunday. It looks like, and Peterson talked about this yesterday. He said, I feel far fresher at the end of this camp that we have gone through than I used to ordinarily. So I think that the tone is going to be set. And look, you can say, well, are they going to are they going to be prepared for actual tackling and stuff? But the priority among the younger, smarter coaches now is to not wear guys down in practices, and the Vikings are definitely going to adopt that philosophy.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but the Rams rarely played starters in preseason games. Did they not play?
You are correct.
Like Whitworth and those guys just did not play. Stafford,
and I believe some veterans didn't practice a lot. Like if I'm not mistaken, they barely played their starters in the preseason last season, and they won the Super Bowl.
So there's a chance, and that's the tough part here is that. For the Rams last year, and you'd have to go back to did they play? Because Todd Gurley sat out preseason games a few years ago too. I guess what I'm saying is, this is a brand new offensive system. You've got some new pieces here. Your offense, largely personnel wise, is intact. But if they determine that Chris Reed is going to be the center, do you want to see that in a preseason game, or do you just want to trust that practice was enough? And all right, week 1 is here, and you're taking over for Bradbury. It's a new system. There's going to be timing things in place. So I think it could be a little risky to not play starters in preseason games and just say, all right, guys, we're playing Green Bay and a Monday night road game against the Eagles in week 2, and we're going live with a new system for the first time. So I can see it both ways in this first year.
I can too, but here's the thing that I think we have to keep in mind. So if you had a bunch of competitions, like if you had a competition at right guard and center and running back, you'd probably want to see guys in games. But the reality is, if you look at this team, the competitions are few. And so keep in mind, too, in preseason games and in the training camp practices that fans attend, you basically do not do anything you don't want seen. So, like, if they were to play Kirk and the offense and install this thing in let's say 2 preseason games, they're just going to basically run vanilla-like plays. So I think in O'Connell's mind, he's going to think, why would I want to play those guys and not really run plays? Because I know who's going to start.
Yeah.
But you're right about this. September 11th is go time. How much of that's in by then? So it's a very interesting tightrope. But I think what the Rams have done and not done in training camp and preseason is probably pretty instructive to what we're going to see from the Vikings.
Yeah. I think that the tackling thing, has proven to be a little overrated. Like maybe you see some bad tackling early in the season because guys aren't going hard in practice, but these guys don't forget how to tackle. And I'm not too concerned about that side of it. It's more schematically, but you're right. Like if they're not going to show anything in preseason games anyways, then all right, maybe practice is your best chance to get the best reps there. Okay, mandatory minicamp music number 5 here.
All right, we wrap it up with this one, and it goes back to a topic that I just briefly broached, but it's this. There are basically no starting jobs up for grabs. Right guard is. On defense, maybe the Bynum Scene thing turns into a training camp battle of sorts, although I think both are going to be used at times. But when you look at the true plan for starters, barring guys being hurt, there is very little available here. I also would say after watching the kid kicker the past 2 days, Greg Joseph, his job is extremely safe.
So the other dude is not good.
He's not good. He's not good. He was shanking kicks left and right. So anyway, the point being is
shanking kicks.
It was bad. The point being is there is not going to be, if you're planning to come out to the training camp practices at TCO, you are not going to see a lot of competition. The only pure one I think that you eventually will see is right guard.
And that's not exactly a headliner competition to come watch if you're a fan going out to training camp. I can't wait to settle in and watch the right guards do battle. Who's going to become the starting right guard?
What's going on? Regis kind of good.
Actually, we do know one guy who would probably love that.
Brian Baldinger doesn't just like football, he loves football.
You watch JPP right here and watch his ability just to slip like that. That's a little cross chop. Now, square the hips up, bam. Sometimes you just got to try the quick jam. The quick jam, bam. Just get on them. Get on them as quick as you can, boom, then get off them. And then get ready to dance. Shuffle, slide. Shuffle, slide.
Square the hips up.
Who are
Bam.
you to put the right guard competition down, Phil? When you just heard Ball, that's his life's work, and you just crapped on him.
Listen, I'm sorry. I apologize for denigrating the right guard battle. What about Booth? Is Andrew Booth, does he have any chance to become a starter early in the season, or is it just the cornerback spots are ironclad right now? Is he in a doghouse?
Oh, no. He's coming off surgery, as we talked to Dubes about, and so he's out. So he is not practiced yet.
And so but is he going to be ready for training camp though?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know, and I think that they're going to be extremely cautious. And I think the only reason why he fell as far as he did in the draft was because of the fact that he was hurt. So they're not going to rush him back. So I would guess that Booth has a chance. But that's a good question point, because the Dantzler thing it's a little bit concerning because we just don't know. I don't think he might be fine. He might be really good. He might, yeah. I don't know that for certain yet. And so, could a healthy Booth challenge him eventually? Absolutely.
I'm having a hard time with any Dantzler uncertainty, because is there anything eye test or PFF grade or otherwise that has led anyone to think that he's, besides being in the doghouse oddly in training camp last year, he's been a good player, and PFF actually loves him. They've got him as one of the top 20 cornerbacks in the league by some metrics.
But if they really like Booth, when he can practice and he can play, he could challenge him. I wouldn't dismiss that. I just don't know when Booth's
But don't
ready.
you think this is a conversation that I don't think anyone has had yet for obvious reasons, but Don't you think Patrick Peterson is the more vulnerable between Dantzler and Peterson? Not now. I'm saying like in week 7.
Oh,
Who's more likely to be getting burned in week 7? An over-the-hill Patrick
that's what I don't
Peterson
know.
or an
Yeah.
emerging into his prime Cam Dantzler?
that's a good question. Yeah.
Unless there's a slot position for him, because Chandon Sullivan's the weakest of the 3 cornerbacks, but
Right.
he's fine in the slot, and that's a different. Like I don't know that you're going to move any of these other 3 guys into the slot. These guys are more classic
not a
outside
slot.
cornerbacks, right?
Dantzler's not a slot. I think the one thing that you're going to find, and why Peterson probably, even if he struggles a little bit early in the season, is going to buy himself time, is I think right now they really value his ability to know the defense and the fact that he is a veteran voice.
Yeah, no, and I'm not trying to
So
boot
I
him.
think
I'm just
O'Connell's
saying,
going to put a premium on that, at least for 2022.
Okay. Well, those are Judd's mandatory minicamp musings. O'Connell. Oh, give us one more here, because O'Connell, and we'll get to the random Viking of the week, but O'Connell, he talked about how he basically hasn't taken any time off since the beginning of last year's training camp, because he's just like Super Bowl run, jumped right into a new job, hit the ground running, draft, et cetera.
I saw your tweet.
Oh yeah, I need a guy that doesn't. I don't want a guy that takes time off. Okay, I no sleep,
done.
no food. I don't just. You need to be grinding to a nub at
He's too
all
skinny
hours
already.
of the day.
He's too skinny already. But that guy is a rail. He's a pencil.
I think there's a new generation of coaches that value their health a little bit more.
Yeah. Very
Sean
important.
McVay not fat yet. Cliff Kingsbury not fat yet. You know, some of these new guys. The McVay coaching tree, lowest body fat percentage. I mean, you compare
LBI.
that to like the Bill Walsh coaching tree.
You know what's funny?
Right.
Mike, like look at some of these guys.
Well, that's
Andy
true.
Reid.
What's funny about that comment is this. Kingsbury and McVay, but Kingsbury especially, are showing the wear in their face. So, like, they're not gaining weight.
Kyle
necessarily,
Shanahan is a great example.
but
He's
like you're
still
seeing,
skinny, but looks
like look
you
at
know.
look at a picture of O'Connell right now, and I guarantee you, in 3 years, he will not. I mean, he looks spry. He looks like he might be like 30, late 20s. In 3 years, he's going to show that presidential / coaching aging. Kingsbury, when he started, I'm comfortable enough to say this. Dude was hot. Like
He's still hot. He's
yeah,
not ugly.
he's not ugly at all. But I'm saying
He's a
starting to
good-looking
show some
guy.
age. He was, but I'm saying he was hot, HOT, when he started, and now he's he's still a good-looking guy, but he's showing some age.
No, it's just weird.
McVay was hot. He's showing some age now.
Judd using the word hot is just I don't know.
I don't know how I feel
I
about
don't know if that word works for you.
Kingsbury, when Kingsbury started, he looked identical to me to Gosling, and now there's no comparison. It's Gosling, and then way down the list.
Well, I don't know if I would call you hot, but you're definitely looking more svelte than you were about a year ago this time.
I am indeed, and that's thanks to my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers who have helped me drop 40 pounds. Look at this picture. Ladies and gentlemen, the guy on the left, yes, that's the same guy as the guy on the right and the guy who's talking to you right now. And right now you're saying,
It's a Benjamin Button effect here. Is what's happening.
how did that sort of fat guy get skinnier? And I'm going to tell you right now, wasn't by himself. I don't have the discipline. I didn't have the know-how. Livia changed my life. And the most important thing, I dropped the weight and I'm keeping it off. That's right, because everyone can lose weight. The question is, can you keep it off? And I want to tell you about their new Simple Start plan, just $59. You receive one-on-one personalized and guided support online or in person from their team of experts. It's as easy as starting with this. You call 855-GO-LIVEA or go to Livia, LIVEA.com. And I'm going to tell you right now, inside the state or out, doesn't matter. In fact, Kyle on Write That Down yesterday, since February, came on unprompted, told us I'm down 70 pounds. Today I said, Kyle, where you at? Where are you? He said, Dallas. I'm in Dallas, Texas. That's right. 70 pounds off for him, 40 for me. Why? Livia.com, Livea. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Judd can do it, so can you. All of the clothes that fit, you feel better, you look better. Livia.com.
Also, hello to our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company, helping keep businesses shielded from risk for over 100 years. Federated is all about integrity, equity, teamwork, and respect. These 4 cornerstones create the foundation that supports all interactions and decision-making at Federated. Find out what they can do for your business. The value of their company is measured by the success of yours. Federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, guys, it is time for the random Viking of the week here. Every single Thursday, I put you guys up against each other in a battle of Vikings historical knowledge. So far, Judd has a 25-14 lead over Declan in this random Viking of the week. But Declan has a 4-week winning streak, correctly guessing Corey Chavis, Marquise Gray, and Latavius Murray after Judd correctly guessed Archie Manning and Sage Rosenfels in the 2 previous weeks.
Speaking of being hot, I'm hot.
Well,
Oh, I thought you were going to say Archie Manning.
Oh. Well, it might be. Manning genes aren't bad, I guess.
I don't know why you guys are so uncomfortable with me saying Cliff Kingsbury used to be hot.
He still is hot.
He's not hot anymore. He's aging too quickly.
Okay. All right. I don't
know what you're doing.
Weird.
It's 2022.
There's just something about. No, I know. There's nothing
We
wrong.
can talk about whatever we want.
I know. You're just
Not that.
It's the way you're using the word hot. I think that's throwing me off. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever heard you use that word before.
I usually don't, but I mean, if it's deserved, it's deserved. It used to be deserved.
All right, here's how the game works. Random Viking of the week. I throw out a series of clues. You guys each get up to 3 incorrect guesses, and then you're eliminated if you reach that threshold. You can ask me a question. I can refuse to answer because these are my clues that I give out.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, Random Viking of the week. Originally from Monroe, Louisiana, and originally played college football in the Big 12.
Oh, Big 12 guy.
Okay. Monroe.
This Random Viking of the week has spent time as a high school coach in his post-playing career. On the defensive side of the ball.
Oh, good. That helps a lot.
That's the side of
That
the ball
helps.
that he has been coaching in high school.
On high school, okay, good. Yeah, because I've got my list right here of all the former Vikings who are helping coach high school football.
Mm-hmm. I think there's some. Right?
Oh, sure.
Certainly this guy.
I was just being a jerk.
All right, this Random Viking of the week didn't become a regular starter in the league until his 4th year. Actually, it might have been his 5th year, but took him a handful of years to become a regular starter.
Okay.
This Random Viking of the week was once named the winner of the Ed Block Courage Award, an award presented to a player from each team as someone who's a role model of inspiration, sportsmanship, and courage. This Random Viking of the week was also once named to the NFL's All-Joe team that USA Today used to put out, recognizing the NFL's most overlooked, ignored, and hard-working players.
Okay, so.
This guy was a grinder.
Yeah.
This guy grinded, and he's still grinding.
He's courageous. He's overlooked.
Yeah, this guy
Didn't start till later.
This guy came from nothing.
This Random Viking of the week became a 3-time Pro Bowler in his career.
Wow.
Oh, so he came from nothing and made himself something.
And actually made himself around $48 million in his career.
3-time Pro Bowler.
Despite not being drafted.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm. That's pretty amazing.
Are we gonna get a side of the ball pretty soon? I was gonna say
Well,
position,
I think
but that's too much to ask.
Okay. I'll give you some clues that lead you to this.
Okay.
This Random Viking of the week had 1 career interception and scored a touchdown on it.
I'll take a guess.
Okay.
Pat Williams?
Oh, you're kidding!
He is red hot, folks.
Oh my God!
Declan Goff.
Oh my God!
4 in a row.
4 in a row!
Declan
Oh my God!
Goff.
Damn it! I should have gotten that
If
one.
I would have used the word rumbled for 20 yards on an interception
He
for
scored
a touchdown.
He scored a touchdown.
He had a pick 6 with
I
the
remember
Bills
this.
at one point.
Oh,
Yeah.
with the Bills. Okay, because I was gonna say
I think it
covered
was
him.
with the Bills. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he didn't have one. He's coaching
He also had
defense now?
he had a scoop and score in his career too. He scored 2 career touchdowns. One was a scoop and score. The other was some sort of.
I knew
a
somebody.
pick six.
The Monroe thing I should have known because now I remember seeing that.
Wow.
What Big 12 school did he play at?
So he played at Texas A&M. He also played at like a junior college or two.
Oh, okay. I
So
forgot
he
about that.
he failed the math portion of one of it. Like
Same.
he had a hard time in school, but he was an amazing football
Oh, I
player
gotta-
and leader.
I got to get back on track. Joe Madden might be fired from my
Wow.
staff.
4 consecutive wins.
Joe
for Jack
Girardi,
Lee.
you're out.
Here's the list of coaches. I didn't even get to this. He played for Wade Phillips, Brad Childress, Mike Tice, Greg Williams, Mike Mularkey, and Marv Levy. He played for Marv Levy with the Bills back in 1997.
Oh, wow.
And I think Jim Kelly was still the quarterback then too.
Yeah,
Big Pat.
97. In fact, I believe the
Big
Vikings, if I'm not mistaken, the Vikings opened the 97 campaign in Buffalo.
Okay, that
Against
sounds
him as a
familiar.
rookie.
Yeah, and he only played in like one game as a rookie,
Wow.
undrafted, and then eventually became this house of an interior
Declan
defensive
is
lineman.
red hot. Now I'm going to have to see this on Twitter because every time Dex wins, it goes on Twitter.
I
and
have
when
to talk about it.
And when
I'm
I
going-
win,
I
it
have
doesn't.
to.
Funny, it doesn't show up,
Go
yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah.
There's
Weird.
something. There must
Funny.
be wrong with the Score North
Weird.
Twitter feed on
Yeah,
the times that I've
interesting.
won.
I'll take that up with management.
Yeah,
This one's
so-
going to make it
Wow.
on every platform, I think.
Yeah.
TikTok
You know what I'm
and,
excited for?
Instagram, too.
AJ on Monday. I'm excited for
Not
AJ.
Monday. You gotta wait till like Thursday to get AJ, right?
Oh,
Yeah. He'll be here. Well, actually,
he
he'll be
come in
here
on Monday?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and the following Monday.
oh, that's what it is because you're
This
taking
is
the
the
Monday
longest,
off after you.
longest sabbatical
No, that's great.
of my Score North tenure.
That's
Judd, I
great.
recommend now that you've lost 4 straight of these, maybe you can take the edge off with one of your favorite beverages.
Oh, let's see. What beverage would that be? Well, let's put away the Folly coffee right now and take the edge off with one of my favorite beverages from Surly Brewing, which of course is my favorite. Now, I am, as you all know, a furious guy, and right now, because of my streak against Declan being on the fritz, I am somewhat furious. But I'd like to talk to you right now. I'd like to look right at this camera and talk to you right now about my new friend, Logic Bomb. I got a tweet from a guy last night that said, "This is delicious." And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't recall his name, and I don't really care what his name was, because here's what I care about. He was right. Logic Bomb. Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend is coming. It's Thursday, and you're saying, what should I get, Judd? From Surly, and I'm going to tell you right now, the summer of Surly, I'm basing it right now around my new favorite summer beer, Logic Bomb. Check it out. It's fantastic. It's Surly, and everything in the summer of Surly is coming up roses, despite my losing streak to Declan.
All right. Yeah, Judd, man, it's
Oh, and
been
tweet
over a
me your
month.
beers.
Got to go back and look at the film here.
at the film. Easily
Declan's is the
correctable.
second 4-game winning streak that Declan. Actually, it's the third. It's the
He goes
third
on hot
4-game
streaks.
winning streak.
Yeah.
He goes on hot streaks, and then I destroy him for five
Yeah.
times, and then nobody tweets about
Peaks
that.
and valleys. Peaks and
And
valleys.
nobody,
No tweets
and nobody
about that.
gives me credit,
No,
and then
no tweets about
he'll
that.
win.
No.
It's like,
Hey,
I took it too
when-
good.
It's hilarious. Also, don't forget, we are giving away a trip for 2 to Miami week 6 if you want to see Minnesota, Miami. We'll cover the tickets, the travel. You just have to bring your own face paint, pretty much. You can open the Score North app to enter. And by the way, this is open to the entire lower 48 here. So this is not just restricted to Minnesota like some of our previous giveaways. This is open to everybody in the lower 48. Open the Score North app, register, and enter through listener rewards in the menu. And we'll do a drawing at the end of the month. That's a wrap. Purple Daily, Daily Vikings Entertainment. We'll see you guys tomorrow for a 4-question Friday.